All right, MUCT 112L class at La Sierra. This is your week 4 remote lecture. This actually one's going to be a little shorter, but we'll have some things to talk about as we go through it. So let's begin. We're going to start with some singing. So let's go through the scales that we know. Let's start with major. 1, 2, 3, 4. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, ti, la, so, fa, mi, re, do. Let's skip over to melodic minor. 2, 3, 4. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, te, le, so, fa, mi, re, do. Natural minor, ready, go. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, le, te, do, te, le, so, fa, mi, re, do. And harmonic minor, ready, go. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, le, ti, do, ti, le, so, fa, mi, re, do. Okay, and let's reestablish our do. I went down entire half step there, so be sure that you don't do that too. Hopefully you were listening to that and thinking like you're going flat. So it does happen. It does happen. Especially if your voice is tired and it's late in the day on a rainy day, but no excuses. Do, chromatic now. Let's get all the way to front and back with the chromatic. 2, 3, 4. Do, di, re, mi, fa, fi, sol, si, la, li, ti, do, ti, te, la, le, so, se, fa, mi, me, re, ra, do. All right, we're more or less warmed up now. Open up your Berkowitz books, please. Up to page 22. We're going to pick up where we left off last Friday. And where we picked up, actually make that page 23. Excuse me, page 23, not page 22. And the last thing we sang in the Berkowitz last Friday was number 92 on page 23, where we noticed that not every melody must begin on do. Some melodies begin on other notes of the tonic triad. Nearly every melody begins on some note of the tonic triad. Most on do and others on sol and mi. So number 92, we saw our first example of a melody beginning on sol. And we will continue with melodies beginning on sol. Beginning with number 93. Number 93, if you will note, by analyzing number 93, you will see that we are in the key of E minor. And by noticing that the descending passages, in like the first measure and the fifth measure, utilize the lowered 6th and 7th scale degrees, but the ascending measure in the second to the last uses the raised. This is melodic minor, E melodic minor. Sol is our first note. We'll go sol, do. Okay, let's try this. 1 and 2, E and do. 1 and 2. Sol, do, te, le, so, fa, me, fa, sol. Fa, me, fa, me, re, do, re. Sol, do, te, le, so, fa, me, fa, sol. Sol, sol, la, ti, do. All right, so see how that works. The ascending line going to do, raised to the 6th and 7th scale degree. All right, let's try number 94, playful, in the friendly and familiar key of C major. Sol, mi, do, outlining that tonic triad again. Let's try it. 1 and 2, E and 3 and 4. Sol, mi, La, ti, do, re, mi, fa, sol, fa, mi, re, do, re, mi, fa, mi, re, do, re, mi, fa, mi, re, sol, mi, do, sol, la, ti, do, ti, la, sol, fa, mi, re, do, sol, la, ti, do, re, mi, fa, sol, mi, do, ti, do. That one was a little more involved. Again, you can always push back the slider on the YouTube box there to do that one again if you didn't feel entirely confident with it. That was in C major. Turn the page over to page 24. Let's do a couple more. We'll do 3 on this page. So let's begin with number 95, key of G major, Sol. We're using compound meter here, and subdivided compound meter, as you can see, with some 16th notes, so we're not going to go very fast. So let's try 1 and 2 E and 1 and 2 E and sol, 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 fa, mi, re, do, sol, do, do, ti, do, re, mi, fa, sol, 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 fa, mi, fa, sol, la, sol, fa, mi, fa, sol, la, fa, mi, fa, sol, mi, fa, re, do. All right, let's do another one in minor mode, this time in C minor. Okay, and you can, the identification of this one into its mode, the key is easy, C minor, but what kind of C minor it is would be fairly easy to determine if it weren't for one inconvenient thing. You see, of course, the B natural, T, there about halfway through the first line. And if that were the only one of 7 scale degrees that existed in number 96, that would be easy. However, as you can see in the third line of the third measure of the second line, there's a lowered 7th scale degree here, so that means it is melodic minor. And we can talk a little bit more about identifying kind of in the gray areas between melodic minor and harmonic minor later, but let's go ahead and sing this one. All right, Sol. All right. One measure, subdivided. 1 and 2 and 3. Sol, me, re, do, re, mi, fa, sol, me, do, ti, do, re, mi, fa, sol, le, sol, fa, me, fa, sol, fa, me, re. Me, fa, sol, do, sol, le, te, le, sol, fa, sol, do, re, mi, fa, mi, re, do, re, mi, do, re, mi, re, do, mi, re, do. All right, we will do, excuse me, one more. Number 97. And note what it says there, just above it. The next 4 melodies begin with the third of the tonic triad. All right, we've dealt with Do pretty much the entire school year up until this point. A little bit of Sol this week, and now the 3rd scale degree, Mi or Me, depending on the key and mode. So this one, number 97, is in C sharp minor. So me, do is how we will begin. Okay, and be careful, there's some interesting melodic contours here. Me, do, fa. Okay, jumping up the perfect fourth is important. And then about halfway through the top line, all that. Sol, re, sol, me, sol, sol. Okay, so it's an ascending line with all the sols kind of coming in between each of them. All right, me, do. Let's try this. 1 and 2, E and 1, E and 2 and me, do, fa, fa, me, re, do, ti, do, sol, re, sol, me, sol, sol, fa, me, fa, re, me, fa, sol, fa, me, re, do, ti, do, re, me, fa, sol, fa, me, le, sol, ti, do. And as you can see there at the very end, that le, sol, ti, do, if you remember from the Secrets of the Scales, right in that bubble of harmonic minor. Le, sol, le pushing down to sol at the top, ti pushing up to do from the bottom. So classic harmonic minor mode. All right, jump over to the Kazez book, and let's do a little bit of rhythm. Continuing on from what we started on Friday, and we'll continue. So open up your Kazez rhythm reading books, please, to page 43. To page 43. And there we will begin on number 66. I'm just going to do a couple of examples here. Page 66. Okay, you should know by now, of course, that the magic word as relates to rhythm is always subdivision. And here in number 66, we need to subdivide at the smallest level of the division of the beat, which is the 8th note in this case, the single subdivision. Okay, so I will give you 2 measures subdivided in 2/4 time, and you need to come in on the and of one of that first complete measure there. And let's do the dynamics as well. 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and T, 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 T. All right, we'll do something similar in number 67. Okay, in number 67, please keep in mind that though there are only 2 16th notes in the entire example, it is still necessary that you subdivide at the level of the 16th note. You should always subdivide at the smallest level of the division of the beat, no matter how rare it is in the example. So in this case, there are only a few 16th notes. We will subdivide at the level of the 16th note. Okay, guaranteed to help us be more accurate. 2 measures subdivided at the in 3/4, and we'll be in 1, 2, and 3, and a 1, and a 2, and a 3. T, 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 ticky, T, 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 T. T, 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 T. All right, and turn the page. For the last one we're going to do today, turn the page over to page 44 and number 68. All right, this is in 4/4 time. But again, as always, watch out for traps. Look out for traps. If you look through here, you'll see, as actually the previous one, but also in number 68, that there are meter changes. 2-4 at the end of the first line, 3-4 near the end of the second line, and then 4-4 back in the final line. There are some varying rhythmic figures like 8th and 2/16, and then 2/16 with 8ths. There are also ties across the bar line, and rests, and potentially, not really rests in awkward places, okay? So just be aware, keep your wits about you, and we'll be fine. All right, one subdivided measure in 4/4, and we'll be in. 1, 2E and a 3E and a 4, and T, 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 ticky, T, 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 ticky, T, ticky, ticky, T, 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 ticky, T, 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 ticky, 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 T, 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 ticky, T, 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 ticky, T, 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 ticky, ticky, T. All right. All right, we're going to stop there for now for this week, and on Friday we will talk about the anacrusis, which is a fun little branch of knowledge. We can talk about the secrets of rhythm as well, just like we talked about the secrets of the scales. All right, so make sure that you go through all of this stuff. Make sure you understand it before Friday, because we're going to go right on with subsequent material that builds on that. All right, we'll see you then.